Congressman Eric Swalwell officially dropped out of the 2020 presidential race. The California lawmaker is the first Democratic in a crowded primary field to do so. Here's what he had to say earlier.
The House Judiciary Committee, the House Intelligence Committee, and as the chair of the Steering and Policy Committee to work on these issues, but to carry the stories of so many people I've met across America. I also want to thank my wife, Brittany, our kids, Nelson and Cricket. They were a lot of fun on the road. My wife was a hell of a surrogate for us. She was a mom who had a full-time job and put everything into her husband's campaign. I also want to thank my parents, Eric and Vicky, and my brothers, Josh, Jacob, and Chase, as well as my staff, led by our campaign manager, Lisa Tucker, as well as our supporters, who made the small contributions, who knocked on the doors, made the text messages, believed in us every step along the way. Thank you. I want to thank the media, because I see the media everywhere we go across the country, carrying your materials and your cameras and lugging it through airports and trying to catch me and ask the tough questions that we expect in a democracy. You're not the enemy of the American people. You uphold the promise of our Constitution of free speech and a free press. But I want to thank, most importantly, my constituents. The only reason that a son of a cop who was the first in his family to go to college would believe that he could run for president and elevate the issue of gun violence is because I'm around people who have this spirit of risk-taking and learning from their failures and turning them into successes. I grew up in the Tri-Valley, but it should be really called TRY Valley, because that defines who we are. We try, we fail, we try, we fail, we try. We're the next major tech company. That's just in our DNA here, and a little bit of that is in your congressman. So I have no regrets. I'm excited about what we've done. I think it's actually fitting that today, as we end this presidential campaign, over the last week I've been mentoring and helping a working 34-year-old mother of 2 kids in the South who is embarking today on what will be seen as a long-shot campaign for Congress in the South. But what I've really enjoyed the most about my work is working with and mentoring young people, just like I had leaders work with and mentor me. So campaigns will begin across America in the next few months to reshape the House, the Senate, city councils, and school boards. And I believe that if those campaigns are run on the issues of going big, being bold with the solutions, and doing good in the way that we treat each other, we will see that promise of America fulfilled for all Americans. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Congressman, do you know who you're going to endorse in this field?
I don't know yet. I'm really impressed by this field. If Megan Rapinoe gets in the race, I'm probably going to endorse her. I think she turns 35 next July.
None of the front runners right now?
You know what? I'm really impressed with the field. I'm not going to make any decisions right now. Look, it's a talented field, and that was one of the challenges I think for us was had a lot of heavyweights in that field, and it's going to take more twists and turns. I look forward now to being a citizen watching the debates.
Following up on that question, though, what are you looking for as you look at the field and who's there? What are you looking for in what you'd like to see? Who you'd like to see be the party standard bearer? Who you think maybe can be President Trump?
I think these are issues of the future that we face, and we need ideas for the future. So student debt affects 40 million of us, myself included. Climate chaos, we have 12 years before the effects are irreversible. Gun violence, as parents, we take our kids to school and we worry all day if we're going to get a call that something has happened. So these are issues that are new, and I think it's going to take a next generation of leaders, and I really believe that the best matchup against Donald Trump is to have somebody who lives in the present but never, ever stops thinking about the future.
Are you going to run for Congress?
Yes. Yes.
You said earlier when you announced your candidacy that you wouldn't run.
I had said that I wouldn't seek both. Our attorneys had told us that you could run for both. That decision wouldn't have to come until December, and that if we were still in it in December, I wouldn't seek both. But the polls have had their way, so here we are in July. I'm excited, as I said, to continue this work. I'm going to leave here. I'm going to an immigration roundtable to address the border crisis, which affects our district with so many migrants and their families coming here. So yes, I'm excited to do that work. And as I said, it's not just running for re-election. It will be imminent issues like the work we have on the Judiciary Committee and Special Counsel Mueller coming before Congress next week.
Congressman,
Yes.
it's not easy to run for president, especially in such a crowded field. What's your biggest takeaway? What lessons did you value from this experience?
Yeah, people really do trust you when they get those opportunities face to face. They tell you things that they probably only tell their spouses, and they're really counting on you, and they still believe that this is a country, of fairness and, order and laws, and they're counting on it being that way. And so I don't want to let folks like that down. That's why I get so frustrated with the president. As you see, you stand in the living rooms of, hardworking Americans. You see how hard they've worked to buy their home. They're not asking, to live a lavish life and be a member at Mar-a-Lago, but they just want to know that their prescription drugs aren't going to bankrupt them. And so they want you to be straight. They want honesty in their politicians, and they want equal opportunity in their own lives.
What about you personally? Was it a grind? Was it fun?
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was fun to have my 2-year-old and my 8-month-old out there with me. And in some of these living rooms, you walk in and they immediately jump up to take the kids. It's like they're measuring and weighing your kids as much as they're measuring and weighing the candidates. If I have any regret, it's that my kids won't remember this at all. But I hope they're proud of why I ran and what it meant to other families who wanted a champion on gun safety.
Do you think the message of the Democrats is getting out to beat Trump, or is all of this picking at one another, which always happens this early on, is doing more damage?
We need a candidate who's tested. I'll tell you that much, because Donald Trump is the best political puncher ever in American politics. And so whoever we send to that debate stage with President Trump is going to have to be able to take a punch, throw a punch, and then unite the country at the end of the campaign. And that's going to be a very special person. And so I think this is okay. This is needed. I think weaknesses will be flushed out, and a leader will emerge.
Congressman, do you think, what's your message to some of your fellow candidates who are also perhaps polling at lower numbers? Do you think it's too crowded of a field and it's time for others to follow your lead?
It's really a personal decision. We looked at the upcoming debate and the September debate, and we had the money in our account to continue to try and qualify for the upcoming debate. But we believe that even if we had done that, that when you looked at the September debate, it just wouldn't add up. And so, again, we wanted to be honest with ourselves and with our supporters. If there was a viable chance, I would not be standing here today. I would, from day one, was running to win. And if that's what others are doing, then I'm sure they're assessing their chances as well. But as soon as it doesn't look like you're likely to win, at least in my case, I didn't want to mislead my family, my staff, our supporters, my constituents.
Why do you think your campaign didn't take off? What do you think voters are looking for?
I think it is a crowded field, and you had people who, have had, high name recognition. 2 of the candidates have run for president before that I stood on the stage with. We have a senator in California who's running, she's quite talented and quite popular. So, I'll leave it to analysts to determine that. I'm proud of the issues we ran on and the team that we had behind us. I just wish I could have done more for them in those issues.
Congressman, what were the thresholds that you failed to meet? Thresholds, was it the fundraising, polling, number of donors? When did you decide, all right, I'm not going to be able to continue this?
Yeah, the polling wasn't moving after the debates, and the donor number was always going up, but it was never going to reach the point where we could qualify for the the September debate is 130,000, and I'll be honest, I welcome those thresholds. Just as someone who's putting everything into it, expecting your family and your staff and your volunteers to put everything into it. We didn't want to just screw around here. We wanted to grow with the thresholds, and if we didn't we were going to get out. And so those thresholds, I think, are fair, and it's the best way to narrow the field. Yeah, Joe.
Eric, how much did you raise last quarter? And also, you went hard at the NRA in your campaign. Did they take this?
And that was Congressman Eric Swalwell of California dropping out of the 2020 presidential race. The California Democrat said he will run again for his congressional seat. He also said that his party has several impressive candidates vying for the Democratic nomination, but he is not ready yet to endorse someone. We'll discuss